guys. Previewing the Oklahoma State game and Alabama series this weekend. We'll start with questions. James will go first.
Patty, you guys have set yourself up pretty well so far, but this is a big weekend with Oklahoma State and Alabama on the road. That's all those. I would guess. Sometimes I can't figure out RPI, but that's going to be a big RPI hit if you do well. Talk about the importance of this week.
It's starting a massive gauntlet going forward for sure. I'm really excited for our team to feel the energy at the Hall of Fame Stadium. It will feel like a World Series game, and that's something we need to keep feeling. That's 3/4 of our team have not felt this before, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the challenge at the plate for sure. OSU is very good. They're all well-rounded, speed, good hitters, lots of ways to score. And Alabama is very similar in the way of their speed and the way they run the base pass and so forth. So we've got a lot ahead of us, but we've had good practices, and all we can do is prep and go out and do our thing.
Coach, Ella seems to be getting some better swings at the plate lately. How important is it for her to kind of recapture that confidence going down the stretch for you guys?
Yeah, it's huge for her, but it's even more important for us as a team because we're so used to her and what she can do with one swing. It's just a matter of handling pain and what pain can do to your mind when it just won't go away. And she's gotten better with handling that. I don't know if you guys probably don't notice this unless you're elite reporters. You would see that her shoes have changed, and that has helped her quite a bit in comfort. But she's still going to be dealing with this through the rest of the season.
Haber?
Yeah, Patty, how important was it for you to continue the Bedlam series in some way after leaving for the SEC?
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I mean, just it's a tough midweek going into a tough weekend, going into another tough weekend, So I like how it kind of set us up because we are playing Alabama Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it does give us an extra breath before we have to really get prepping for Alabama as well. It's good for the fans. I know they love it. It's going to be a great crowd. It's good competition. Our players need to feel that. Like I said, it's such a new group that I'm anxious to see what they look like in this environment. They play hard. They concentrate well, but this is another level that I'm just really anxious to see how they handle the noise and the crowd.
What's your thoughts just on the future of this series? I think Kenny said today that he wouldn't mind seeing it, expand a little bit, playing maybe one at Hall of Fame and one on each campus, if he knew the difficulties of scheduling it. But
yeah, I quite honestly have not even thought that far. I know it'd be nice to play one for sure, and I like the idea of the Hall of Fame because you can bring in so many fans. But I haven't even thought about it, to be honest with you.
Appreciate it. Go, Bob.
How important was it for Audrey to get back out there since this grind is coming up?
Huge. We weren't sure when this was going to heal, and we really did a very good and patient job of keeping her in a corner and letting this heal. And there were many times when she certainly would want to bring her in, but she wasn't ready and it wouldn't make sense. She feels really good. She's throwing well. We need that extra arm right now just for comfort levels and just having more options of lefty, righty, and so forth. So it's huge. We really, really need this from her.
Chaplain, Jesse.
Looking just a little bit back, how was being able to use Saturday and Sunday, the couple of not initially scheduled off days, but I have to play games on those 2 days? How important is that to reset going into what we've talked about a couple times is a really long week and a long month?
Yeah, it was nice, actually. We really wanted to play. UCF is a team that makes us better, and we wanted that. We wanted to play that. The fact that we did take that day off, which was nice, and then we got to use part of Sunday to kind of recover and just start opening the books on OSU and blending in some Alabama. So it really did help us, I believe.
Jesse?
Patty, you just talked about Audrey needing that extra arm, but it's been a while since you've had everybody available on that pitching staff. So when you go into this Oklahoma State game, this Alabama series, how much is this an opportunity to find out more about the staff, and what do you kind of hope to learn just about that?
Yeah,
group?
I think we've had these opportunities for them. Have they gotten better? How much improved are they? What is the right? And Coach Roach is really good at knowing when to make that switch and who matches up where. And I really like how she creates that. And we're back to a staff where we can do a little more of that if needed. So it's important. I need every arm. Every coach would tell you they need every arm to be healthy and ready to help, especially going into the end of your season.
James and Eli.
Coach, another Freshman of the Week award for Gabby Garcia. What have you thought about the way that she's progressed throughout this season, being one of the unknowns coming into the year?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, really, because watching her in the fall, she's a freshman, so I get it. But I was frustrated because she would get so frustrated with herself. And sometimes she's talking to herself on the field. I'm like, what's going on? So we had some conversation, and she just puts so much unnecessary pressure on herself. And I think she finally saw the light and settled in. I'm not surprised by her defense. I am a little more surprised by her offense. She's always been a pretty good hitter, but this is the best I've ever seen her as I was recruiting her. Very easy, very clean, doesn't strike out a ton, lays down bunch. She can do a lot of things. So she's been really important to this team.
Eli.
Patty, I've spent the past couple of weeks talking to a lot of folks in Tia Malloy's life. I'm curious, the personality, away from performances, but the personality she brings, how would you sum that up?
Hollywood. She's to me, like a Hollywood starlet. She's got the look, great big personality, fun to be around. And I mean, it's not like I'm trying to hang around with her, but when she is around, it's fun. She's funny. She's caring. She just, the example, like if we have recruits ever coming, she comes without even asking. She wants to be part of game night and wants to have fun with people. So it's a joy to have her. And she's very, very hard worker and very engaged in what we're doing.
I guess that just leading into a follow-up is her approach from the mental standpoint. There have been ups, downs. She hasn't played every single game.
Mm-hmm.
What stood out to you about the way she's sort of handled all that?
She's really hard on herself. And we had conversations, and she's talked to people, and I feel like everything's starting to turn for her. I see her at practice, and she's squaring the ball up much better. And there was problems at times with her contacts. We needed to fix them, and it was always something. But I feel her better late than never. I mean, she's really settled in and swinging the bat. I think she can definitely help us going forward. But her feet have been much more grounded in the last probably 3 weeks.
Mason.
Patty, you talk about the impact of getting Audrey back out there against UCF. I'm curious about Sam as well. How important was it to kind of have that tune-up for her going into this big week?
Yeah, I think we all learned a lot from the Tennessee series, and Sam did as well. She just wanted to get back out and get it right, and I felt that she did that. The rest of the way, there's just not a lot of room for anxiety or doubt or any of those things that come into your head. You can't let it in, and that's something that a lot of athletes everywhere fight, and ours included. So it's just trusting what you're doing and staying with your game plan and just getting really laser focused and not letting an umpire call or a play or something disrupt who you are and what you're doing. And I think Sam has really become very good at that. But I think after the Tennessee series, I think she definitely said, okay, I know what I need to do now.
Jesse.
Patty, I wanted to ask you about Hannah Core with her health and the injuries she's had throughout her career. She's been able to play the last few weeks. Just for her, how have you seen her maybe these grinds of these weekends with all she's dealt with? Just how she's handled that.
She's been great. She's been dying to play, and she's been hurt most of her career here, and it's been really hard for her. And it's another level of pain that she was dealing with. And it was really hard to watch because it was really playing hard on her mental psyche. Now she's pretty pain-free, but she is amazing in the outfield. She's done some wonderful things for us, and she's starting to hit a little bit as well. So we might start somebody that maybe is a better matchup and then bring her in late in the game. Maybe we'll start her, bring someone to hit, re-enter her back in for defense. Not quite sure yet where we're at, but she's definitely a big part of this.
Well, to add to that part you mentioned, you can kind of have some versatility there. You know, you've played Sydney in the outfield too. Do you feel like you've got good options in that outfield spot?
Yeah, I feel good with Tia. I feel good with Sydney Barker, Maya Bland. We've got good options out there. Just what's hard for a hitter to understand, I think when you're at the pro level, you get it, but there are pitchers that just don't fit your swing. You know, it's like you want to put on that pretty dress, but it's just too small. It just doesn't fit, so you got to put it back. And that we got to find the right swing for the right drop ball, or maybe the right rhythm for the changeup. And so we do a lot of work on that and who is the right person. Doesn't mean that we stick to the script all the time, but it does pay off. But when you have players that can do a lot of things, they can run for me if they're not playing. Tia Malloy can steal a base like that if she is not in the lineup, as can Hannah Core, as can Cheney Helton, Maya Bland. So we've got an opportunity to use these guys almost every game in some way or form.
James and Jay when we could. That's everybody.
Patty, what about OSU? Can you kind of do a deep dive on them and what you see in the Cowgirls?
One of the better pitchers in the country, no doubt. Hard thrower. Fast. They're fast. They're good base runners. They move very quickly. They're pretty salty throughout. You know, they can lay down a bunt at any time. They've got good swings. They hit hard. They play good defense. They're good. They're better than what their record shows. I do know that. I've known that program since I got here. So you get to hear about it. You get to see them, and they're very, very good.
Jay, and then we'll go to Piccanella.
I know you see Marita. She comes back, you know, every chance she gets, it seems like. But how fun was it to see so many players, those faces that you've been familiar with for so many years the other night?
It was great. A lot of them were here before I got here.
Right.
So, but I feel like we're kindred. So I love being around them. They're proud of this program. Marita has done so much for my life. She hired me. She was the first one to hold Always Ready a la DJ Gasso. She has watched Ben Ready take her keys and bury them in the sand and forget where he buried them, and she's ready to have a fit. When we were over at Reeves Park, those are good old stories over there. But she's been with me from the beginning of my career and taught me so much. And as she gets older, you just feel the love and the nostalgia of, you know, the history that we've had. And so whenever I get to see her, it feels great. And then all of her players just absolutely, they still adore her. It was fun. We had a mix of all years together, and they had college fun. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. They're in their 60s and 70s, and they're having their college fun for sure at the Mont, I believe.
All good. We'll bring